I asked in one of my posts if you have any questions about my work with hypnotherapy, and one of the questions is asking me to talk about starseeds. So, what are starseeds to start with? So, what I understand is that this term was first mentioned by a man called Brad Steiger, I think it's called. He wrote a book about this theory in 1976. Although Timothy Leary, he was already talking about starseeds on a book that he wrote in 73. So definitely a term that seems to be coming into vogue in the 70s, and talks about this idea of some of us humans incarnating in this life, coming from having impressions or memories or signs that we have been lived in another planet before this one. Some of us have come here with this feeling of not really belonging. So there's some symptoms, for say, or some feelings that some of us have that distinguish a star seed. So some of those are feeling of not belonging in this planet, not understanding about this place, this planet, having a strong feeling of purpose, or this inner knowing that it came here for a big mission or with a big purpose. A being that is very sensitive, or not really understanding of human emotions. So this is what the star seeds are. So some of us believe that we are all star seeds, that we all in this planet are seeded or genetically modified creatures, breeded with beings from another planet, intergalactic creatures. But we have forgotten. And some of us have stronger memories of those times, of those lives. So my teacher, Dolores Cannon, who wrote 19 incredible books on hypnotherapy, she says that she was like a reporter, that what she was doing really is only reporting that which she was seeing, taking her clients under hypnotic states, into trance-like states. And she talks about these waves of volunteer that came to this planet Earth with these strong impressions of having coming from other planets, as I mentioned before. So she says that there was this in the 60s, when there was the war and the humans were playing with atomic bomb and all this dangerous war toys, those interstellar beings out there that seeded us here on the planet and gave us free will, so they cannot really intervene directly to our choices of growth and evolution. But looking down and seeing us doing all what we're doing, they came up with this plan saying, wow, the humans now are doing something very dangerous that could exterminate their own race, and that will create a ripple effect that will affect also other planets and other beings. So what can we do? And they came with this plan of sending volunteer souls from another planets, from higher source of love, to come here and start changing the things from here, from Earth. The thing is that when we come into this life, into this body life, the part of this game, of this Mahalila, is forgetfulness. So we forget where we come from, although some of us have this, again, this strong sensation or feeling that they're here with a bigger purpose. So that was the first waves of volunteer that came into the planet Earth to help ascension. That was in the 60s with the baby bloomers. And then there was the second wave of volunteer, that is the people of my generation, on their 40s. And then there is the younger generation, the kids that are coming up now, that they have completely different ways of seeing and viewing the world. So this is the concept that Dolores Cannon came to. And I love the work of Dolores Cannon, and as you might know, I also work with Dr. Brian Weiss. I study with Dr. Brian Weiss. And Dr. Brian Weiss, and when he wrote the book, Many Lives, Many Masters, he was really trying to prove to the medical society that what he was seeing in his work was legit. So because he was so much involved in this medicinal doctor community, he had to be very careful with his image and what he was discovering and how he would educate people and what he was seeing in his work. So Dolores Cannon was not a doctor, she was just a hypnotherapist, so she doesn't really care what she was saying and how her work would be seen. So that gave her the freedom to go a little bit beyond the constricts of doctor community. I love that about Dolores Cannon, and as you know, this is my unicorn that travels with me when I give lectures, when I give classes. And this unicorn is a representation, I believe, of my work, that I bridge between science and spirituality, for lack of a better word, or also the way I like to greet people with Hari Om. Hari Om is the God or divine manifested in all things that we can see and perceive with our five senses. And Om is the God or divine manifested in the invisible things, in the invisible realms. And I believe that that's my work, and that's why the unicorn is one of my icons. So the icon of the unicorn, of believing in magic, of believing these things that we cannot really see or perceive. So that's a little bit of a star seed. What is a star seed? And that it was how I came to do this work that I do today. So I was born with memories from other lives. I was born with an impression that I did not belong here. I did not understand and understood this world. And I would spend hours in the window of my bedroom looking at the stars and waiting for my family to come to pick me up. And that was when I was a child. And I always had this strong longing to go back home. And I knew I was here for a bigger purpose, for a bigger mission. Now, I also believe that why I was gifted this opportunity to remember these things is so I could stay in my path and do the work that I do today, to help other people to remember where they come from, what are their samskaras, their impressions from other lives for those who believe, or what are those memories impregnated into their genetic codes, into their epigenetic, that will be relevant for them to remember in order to receive more clarity and healing to their lives. So I do believe that some of us come here with memories of those all the times, all the places, all the peoples. And it would be interesting to believe that in this whole entire infinite universe that we would be the only intelligent form of life, isn't that? So that's a little bit about Starseed, and why I came to do this work that I do today is because I personally have those experiences since a very young age that led me to suffer from what my psychologist father diagnosed as a chronic mild depression or melancholy as a child. And when I was 14 years old, I started receiving treatment with a parapsychologist. That was when I started practicing or receiving hypnotherapy and breath work, and started more fully understanding all of the sensitivity of certain people towards other people's behaviors, emotions, and the system that we create in this world that seems to be so far away from nature and from connection with something bigger than our own small ego selves. The separation of the divine that creates so much suffering. So those star seeds would be those peoples that came here to help us remember who we truly are, what our mission here, and bring love and harmony and connection with the divine in this lifetime, in this planet. So that was a little chat talk today while I prepared this beautiful tincture with Artemisia, that I'll talk about Artemisia in another video. But that is a little short video about Starseed, and thank you for asking, and please comment or ask all the questions below, and I'll be doing more videos like those. Thank you. Hari Om Tat Sat. I do believe in magic. Let's create this bridge between the visible and the invisible, between body, mind, and spirit, and the soul, and the universal self, the individual self and the universal self, or Atman and Paratman. And that is really what yoga is.